when I was down to visit King Tut's tomb, I waited until the room was cleared so I could have my own space tuning in. And I closed my eyes and started to feel this energy rushing through me. And all of a sudden, there's a voice next to me, an Egyptian guide guy pointing at the wall. And this is Osiris. And he's pointing across my vision with a really big watch with digital numbers on it. And it was 11, 22, and 21 seconds, just turning to 22. And I was being interrupted energetically, and so I thanked him very nicely. Yes, I know all about the gods and Egyptology. Thank you, and closed my eyes and tuned back in, and really had a profound feeling of being united, sort of, with the spirit of Tut. This is a map I created with a great deal of detail, particularly with the longitude and latitude, so that I could get an exact location for the 0 point. Larry Hunter went and confirmed this is true, precisely. And it's also very interesting to note that the Sphinx is dead center to the top square, the ninth square. And a few other things to note: the Fibonacci sequence, golden mean rectangle unfolding in precision through the top of the first and second pyramid. This was made popular by Drunvalo Melchizedek. And when I went to Egypt the first time, I definitely felt into this map. I had one out of a book, and yet it didn't have the red line, the secant line, the straight line spiral. And I was like, that's one of the most important things. And I began to tune in and receive from my higher self that it's almost more important where these lines are coming in from. And so when I returned home from Egypt, I created a bigger version of this on the wall, again in unfurling the dimensions and ratios. I found that the straight line passes through the Palladian system, and because of the things that Larry Hunter taught me about how to understand that the pyramids, beyond the three great ones, there are other ones that are correlated with temples, and the location of the Sirius remains of a temple exist on the curved line. And these represent the magnetic and electric energies, which have a correlation to the master number 11 and 22. 22 being the master architect, master mind, 11 being the master healer, feminine and masculine, respectively. So these star energies from the Palladian system and the Sirian system are being channeled into this location. Drunvalo also talked about how inside of the Great Pyramid, in the King's Chamber, that at a particular time of year, energies were channeled in from stars. So here we have exactly what's happening. And he thought that it was on November 11th that this occurred. And I'm here to share that it's more likely, if not a window, the 22nd itself, the Golden Gate. This region of the sky was called the Phoenix by the ancients. Very apropos, the Phoenix rising, resurrection, which has a correlation to the Ben stone, the capstone. The message of Osiris becoming Orion, ascending, is paramount. In so many ways, I've realized, discovered, remembered that this is a message in stone pointing the way. The roadmap to ascension becomes clear when you put all these pieces together. I was prompted to find this when I looked into numerology and learned that understanding numbers was the key to the universe, because the Gospel of Thomas talked about the two becoming one, the male and the female, above and below, and the like. I looked at the words that describe that, and I found 1122 embedded in some of the most significant words. The path to enlightenment is described in the story and is echoed in the stars, which are mirrored on the ground. And as the synchronicity of everything that was happening guided me along this path, it's almost like it started to reveal itself to me. With the synchronicity around 1122 being so profound, I couldn't ignore it. The lines that are talked about coming off the top of the head of the Sphinx that point to the celestial visage of equinox and solstice risings had two lines that weren't talked about, 14 degrees above, 14 degrees below. As I dialed in astronomy and astrology software, I found that the dates at 14 degrees above and below was 1122 and 522. And more significantly, the causeway, like the one going down to the Sphinx, points to 1122. And the one going off of the Great Pyramid points to 522. And talk about a synchronicity, that's my birthday, the Silver Gate. The story in the sky, or the gospel in the sky, with all the characters around the wheel, describe the path to ascension as well, focused on the cusps of 522 and 1122, with Orion and the bull representing the Silver Gate. All this information was so important that it was laced through all the imagery. The story echoes it, emphasizes it in a variety of ways, too numerous to get into here in this overview. Suffice it to say, the evidence is really overwhelming. Taken as a whole, it's very difficult to deny a message was left in stone. The lines that tell the story are emphasized in symbolism that we see over and over again. The secant line, which means the line that bifurcates a square, resounded inside of my being as the most important. Boy, that certainly would be the case. Let's take a closer look at why. Zooming in here on what the red line does. It passes through the right shoulder of the Sphinx and through the doorway of the diagonal temple, the only temple in all of Egypt that's not aligned north and south perfectly. I actually remember building this temple, as it's part of my story pertaining to opening the Hall of Records when I was Tutmosis. This temple commemorates the understanding of the line, the hidden message for ascension, along with the knowledge that the Hall of Records exists below. In fact, I learned of a man that was digging a hole in the bottom of his house to access the tunnels and find gold that they would sell. This is a common thing that would occur around the city there. And he actually struck red granite. When the authorities learned about this, they shut him down because he actually hit the top of the Hall of Records. It's most profound to realize that that location is essentially the intersection of a longitude and latitude number that ends in 2233 as the final seconds. As I continued to do my spiritual work and have my own deeper activation and integration, more of my higher self stepped in, resulting in more and more details pertaining to this fuller system, with a greater understanding emerging in my mind pertaining to the bigger number of messages I was finding. It became clear to me that the message that was left in the English language was one of the most important things ever discovered. And as all the elements of this system came together, a very clear path to ascending consciousness emerged. And the keys to hidden wisdom unlocked the doors to the most ancient mystery school. The one that Enoch would attend. He was brought to ancient Egypt, met the Ancient of Days who was on the throne, describing all these things in very exacting detail, and was taught by Uriel the divine source code, a deeper understanding of the zodiac secrets. He would see marvels of wisdom and technology, for he called the pyramids mountains, and on the sides the alabaster shone so bright that it blinded you. The total number of pyramids in the complex equaled 9, except when you add the little tiny one there down at the corner. It's essentially like the 0 point. When the sun hits on a particular day, The visage that is created is outstanding, as it is a mirror image of itself. The architecture and construction itself evinces that of otherworldly beings involved in the development, and the wisdom it portrays itself is most sublime.